Hey everybody, welcome back to Onyx Block. My name's Haas. So today we're going to be going through some very exciting news in both the crypto space and just XRP, XLM. It's a wild day, and I'm actually surprised. I have some stuff here that a lot of people aren't reporting on, so I'm actually really surprised that nobody's talking about this. So hopefully you guys are going to see that this video is going to be something that is worthwhile. So let's first get into it. We're going to be talking about the interview with Brad Garlinghouse yesterday on CNN. So I'm going to play some clips. I'm just going to interject after Brad is done speaking, kind of give my thoughts, and then we will move on with the rest of the news for today.
What's driving the gains this year in your mind?
Well, first of all, Julia, thank you for having me back. It has definitely been an exciting year across crypto. I think one of the most macro important dynamics that is driving the crypto markets is the fact that many governments around the world are printing more fiat currencies. Here in the United States, you see, trillions of dollars of stimulus, and that means that we're inflating the US dollar. And when you inflate the US dollar, there's many people that want to hold non-inflationary assets. You've seen the same dynamic really with gold and the year that gold has had. And so I think people are seeing crypto as, in some cases, a inflationary hedge. As you pointed out, you're seeing names like Paul Tudor Jones and Stan Druckenmiller come into crypto and see it as a investable asset. And I think those are important dynamics that are driving this market.
Okay, so I think what Brad said here is very important. We have a lot more fiat being printed and put into the system, and a lot of people are looking to hedge against inflation and try to find some sort of safe haven for their cash position, especially with the stock market being so volatile right now. We have some good news on the health crisis, which is nice, but at the same time, we have a lot of issues that we need to deal with before. So it looks like a lot of institutional money is trying to put their money into a safer place, that being cryptocurrency currently. So that's very important to keep in mind. That's primarily what's been driving this market, at least I think. Of course, the halvening came into play and everything else, but our crypto market cap is increasing by billions per day, which is incredible. At least the days that it goes up. Sometimes it retraces a little bit, but we've constantly been able to hold on to multiple billions of dollars that have come in. So let's continue to hear from Brad here.
Look, I have said for years, and I've said with you, I violently believe that the long-term value of any digital asset is going to be derived from its utility. I think one utility is store of value, and you're seeing that across Bitcoin. You're seeing that across other cryptocurrencies that don't have an inflationary dynamic. As you introduced in the beginning of the segment, Ripple is using an open source digital asset, XRP, to solve a payments problem. And it's extremely good at that because it's extremely fast and extremely cheap on a per transaction basis, particularly at a time when a Biden administration is arriving. And I think things like climate change, things like environmental impact of energy usage will increase on the importance and the radar. I think there'll be more and more attention on the efficiency and scalability of a technology like XRP in contrast to other technologies that have what we call proof of work or mining, which takes a massive amount of power, as you know well, having followed this space.
All right, so again, to bring up that mining aspect, right? We're looking into something that is more globally, I guess, the global health conscious, right? It's not taking a bunch of energy, usually produced by nuclear power plants, coal plants, water. There are free energy ways to mine Bitcoin, which that's happening. I know there's windmill farms that are trying to mine Bitcoin and everything else. But the majority of the Bitcoin that's mined is usually done by fossil fuel energy, which moving into a more climate focused administration for the United States will definitely impact how certain cryptocurrencies are viewed. And certain cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and Bitcoin, they use a lot of energy just to produce more coin into existence, which that could be a pitfall when we're looking at something that's more climate conscious. So just keep that in mind. It shouldn't change your investing because at the end of the day, Bitcoin is always going to be a good store of value. Ethereum has a lot of on use. Hopefully 2.0 really reduces the fees and increases the speeds on Ethereum 2.0. But you can see where the mining could be an issue going into a more climate-friendly administration.
Do you see this as the end of perhaps Bitcoin dominance? It is talked about most. It has the largest market share. And particularly when I go back to the chart that I just showed of the rise in value over the last 12 months, there is a relative outperformance of some of the other digital assets here versus Bitcoin. Is this the moment where we see the beginning of the end of the dominance of Bitcoin?
Well, I think Bitcoin is going to remain a very important kind of a player within the crypto community. It has been, and I think will continue to be for so many people. And even as you mentioned, Square and others, that when they first get involved with crypto, they start with Bitcoin, and then from there they expand their portfolio. I think it's important to have that entry point, to getting people comfortable. And so I don't think it'll change dramatically. I think Bitcoin has been, I think will continue to be solving a use case, that utility question around store of value. But as you pointed out, I think they're going to see micro cases or even very large cases. In the case of XRP as a payments tool, particularly the way Ripple uses it for cross-border payments, you're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars that are flowing across border in a system that was really designed and built 50 years ago. I'm sure you personally have had the experience of moving money cross borders, and it's slow and it's expensive. And we can and will enable much more efficient and much cheaper solutions.
So that utility, guys, he mentioned trillions and trillions of dollars that are moving cross-border. So that's a huge need and huge demand for cross-border remittances that XRP allows for. So that's one big reason why I'm so bullish on XRP, mainly because the on-use. It has an active use case right now. Ripple's been working with regulators around the world. 95%, actually, I'm spoiling the interview, but 95% of their customers are outside of the United States, typically because regulation issues. But it does come down to utility at the end of the day. Utility is going to drive market prices in the future, and we're going to see that. Right now we're in such a speculative phase that I don't think utility is really going to matter in these early phases, just because the market caps are so tiny, so small, so little amount of money is actually in the crypto space right now. So we can really see that increase over the next few months until basically we go parabolic, right? So
talk to me about regulation, because this is what it distills down to, what the future of regulation looks like. You've said, look, we're a patriotic US company. We want to remain here, but the regulation here is to some degree suppressing innovation. It's restricting your business, and you see others doing better around the world. Where are you on the decision perhaps to relocate in order to facilitate growing the business?
We absolutely want to see the United States lead in this new arena that we call blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And I think we certainly saw that in the age of the internet 20 plus years ago, that the US had clear regulatory frameworks, and that allowed investors to come in and make those investments. Today here in the United States, we're actually out of step with some of the other G20 markets around the world. In the UK or in Singapore or in Japan, you have had that regulatory clarity. You asked why Bitcoin has outperformed, and one of the reasons is likely that there is clarity and certainty about Bitcoin's regulatory framework here in the United States. That hasn't been the case with other cryptocurrencies, including XRP. But when you have that certainty, when you have that clarity, if you're an investor or you're a developer using these technologies, you can invest in them and you can build on top of them with clarity and certainty. The US has not provided that certainty yet, and we have been big advocates of a bill that was introduced in Congress called the DCEA, or Digital Commodity Exchange Act. We think it's a very important step in providing that clarity and that certainty here in the US.
I honestly think that Brad here hit the nail on the head. I think a lot of the reason why XRP and other cryptocurrencies have been held back have been because of the lack of regulation, especially from the SEC in the United States. Obviously, in other countries, more cryptocurrencies are being used, and they have that regulatory clarity that the United States don't have. Obviously, they started with Bitcoin first, then they went to Ethereum, and then just silence. So, but I have some news on that. So in a little bit, we're going to be talking about what the SEC is doing and how they plan to move forward. But let's continue here with the interview.
What does an ideal regulatory framework look like for Ripple and for the digital asset XRP? I just want to give you a sense of how it's holding you back. Is it preventing you adding central banks to the platform? Is it preventing customers, particularly international companies, joining the payments network too? What specifically is it preventing at this stage?
Well, oftentimes when I'm speaking to customers and we're talking to them about our product that uses XRP in the payment flows, they will ask me about the regulatory dynamics. And we have had customers say, look, until there's clarity in regulatory frameworks, then we're going to hold off. Now, that has not been the case because of the clarity and the certainty in countries, as I mentioned, like the US, like the UK or the UAE or Switzerland. you do have companies in those markets saying, absolutely, we're supportive, let's move forward. Here in the United States, we actually have about 95% of our customers are non-US customers, and only about 5% are here in the US. And people say, well, why, you're a US company, why is that? One of the dynamics is we have US companies who are waiting for clarity, and the clarity really emanates from the Securities and Exchange Commission. The US SEC said 2.5 years ago, almost 3 really, that Bitcoin was not a security. And then they came out about 2 months later and said that Ether is not a security. And then they stopped and instead focus their energy on some of the bad actors in the ICO market, the initial coin offering. So for us around XRP and the over 100 companies that are working with XRP, getting that clarity and that certainty, it's very clear to me that XRP is being used by many companies as a currency. You've had the U.S. Department of Justice refer to XRP as a currency. You've had FinCEN refer to it as a currency, but you haven't yet had that clarity from the U.S. SEC.
So I obviously don't have all that much to add here to what Brad is saying. Obviously, more clarity is going to help and increase customers flowing in. So I'm just going to play one more clip from Brad, and then we're going to be talking about something that I have right in front of the screen here for you.
How would regulatory clarity in the United States change that percentage in your mind?
Well, I think you'd see more and more U.S. companies willing to lean in and engage and embrace, hey, these are new technologies, they can solve problems. When there's not regulatory clarity, they don't want to take that risk because there's a little bit, whether we can say it's 1%, 10% or higher, there is some risk that the U.S. government decides a path that could be not good for cryptocurrencies. And so I think it's holding back the whole industry. And as you and I have talked about before, the earliest days of the internet here in the United States, the United States led because there was regulatory clarity. Investment flowed in. Companies, I mean, as you know well, the internet is the reason why we have the Amazons and Googles here in the United States today. We can, I believe, have that with the blockchain and crypto industry as well, but it requires that clarity, that certainty for investors to continue to invest.
But not all digital assets or digital currencies, as you've discussed, are being treated the same here. What would it mean specifically for Ripple and for XRP to simply have clarity over how regulators are viewing XRP itself? How much growth could you see instantly?
Yeah, it's really a good point, because I think what we have seen is in the United States, despite being a U.S. company, is that there's an uneven playing field. We have taken steps as a U.S. government to advantage Bitcoin, to advantage Ether. And the reality is those are technologies that are today, because of the mining concentration, the pools of mining capacity, over 60, 70% of that mining capacity is in China. And so we've advantaged those technologies. So here in the U.S., what we simply have sought is a level playing field so we can compete, kind of on that level playing field, compete effectively. I think you'd see, a lot more adoption from U.S. players of these technologies if there were that certainty, and as an objection to sale, you would avoid that going forward.
Just give me a sense, if you can, sort of percentage growth in the number of customers that you have today as a result of getting that clarity and them saying, okay, regulators are happy, we're joining the network, we're on board.
I can't say an exact number. The way I think about that is, we publicly shared, we've done over 2 million payment transactions over RippleNet, and about 20% of those are happening through XRP. Certainly, that 20% I would expect to increase because banks, payment providers, financial institutions would get more comfortable with, oh, I'm more comfortable using these technologies. So I would expect the percentage to grow. And again, I would expect the overall pool to grow because people would say, okay, great, I understand that there is regulatory certainty for Ripple, for the technology stack that Ripple uses.
Okay, guys, now to move on to the real news. So this was posted on the SEC's website for their news presses for today. So specifically today, the SEC announces the office focus on innovation and financial technology, so directly for fintech. They're calling it FinHub, so it's a specialized unit to become a standalone office. Very exciting stuff. Now, who they appointed to be the lead of FinHub is very exciting because that's Valerie Skitcher-Penek. I'm butchering that name, but she is a cryptocurrency bull. She said multiple things about other cryptocurrencies should have the same regulatory clarity, or that clarity of not being a security that Bitcoin and Ethereum have. And specifically, I think she's mentioned XRP a couple of times. But I know she's not one of those people that just think one coin to rule them all. So she is focused on the cryptocurrency market as a whole. So I'm very excited for her to be the lead of this and then directly reporting to the chairman of the SEC. So this is obviously very exciting. They're going to go through and hopefully provide some clarity that we weren't able to get before. And obviously with Jay Clayton moving out, it should make for an easy pathway for that clarity to move on. So I think this is great news. Just going to go over a couple of quotes from her, or one quote specifically. So she had mentioned back in 2018, I do think if we hope to smell the crypto spring in the air, it'll take people walking with regulators. But I do think the spring is going to come. Now, the reason why I'm so excited about that is who specifically has been working with regulators this entire time. They don't have that clarity, but they've been working with regulators to try to obtain that clarity. In some countries, they have. That's Ripple. It's the one currency that has actually put their foot forward to try to get that clarity. Now, I know there's a lot of FUD about Ripple and everything. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about Ripple FUD in tomorrow's On the Block podcast, so definitely check that out. But the reality is, guys, Ripple does not control or own XRP's system. They obviously have RippleNet that uses the XRP ledger to be able to do cross-border payments, but the actual XRP ledger and XRP, the cryptocurrency, they have no control over. Essentially, it does what the XRP community wants it to do. Of course, they own a decent amount of XRP, but if you look at, for example, Satoshi Nakamoto, who owns 2 million Bitcoin. Nobody knows who Satoshi is. You know, what is it? I think it's 2% of Bitcoin wallets now hold 95% of the Bitcoin. So if you're talking about centralization and you're upset that Ripple has effectively 50% of XRP in escrow, so they don't even have access to it, you're just wrong. You're just flat out wrong. And I think a lot of that shows with how Ripple has conducted themselves over the past couple of years. They've definitely put their best foot forward and tried to bring a very competitive and business-like mentality to crypto and the cryptocurrency space. And I truly believe that they could possibly be the Google of payments. So take with it what you will, guys. I think this is huge bullish news. I think we're going to see clarity in the United States very, very soon, and just in time for this bull market. So one thing that I wanted to discuss just before I finish off here, I wanted to talk about a little bit of a project here that I stumbled on one day. So I was researching David Chaum specifically. I was researching how Bitcoin came to be. And who Satoshi Nakamoto is, this established figure that nobody knows who is and disappeared back in 2014. And I stumbled on David Chaum, and David Chaum worked with OpenCoin with Jeb McCaleb, and that obviously turned into XRP. And he worked on a lot of not blockchain but cryptography technology. Way back in the 80s, and even his university dissertation, it was basically on a cryptographic system, right? A multi-block system that spliced out information to each node, and they all communicate. It sounds familiar, guys. Sounds familiar. And then obviously Bitcoin came out with blockchain technology. Now, we've talked about it before. The first one out of the gate usually gets shot. And obviously, with Bitcoin, if somebody had come out with Bitcoin with their real name, most likely CIA and the FBI probably wouldn't like that. So good chance of some serious damage. I'm going to play a quick video here from David Chaum and the XX network or XX coin team. I believe it's a whole network because they're working on a multitude of platforms. So we're going to watch this video, and then we're going to talk about the coin and a pre-sale that's coming up.
Messaging and payments apps we're told are free, but actually they are stealing our freedoms. They started by just stealing the economic value of our data, but now they are irreversibly undermining elections, dissent, and the hope for democracy. The problem is that encryption alone does not hide the most revealing data, who talks to whom, when, and from where, the social graph and other metadata, what I've called the true meta issue of our times. Because even end-to-end encrypted messages are easily traced by size and timing. 40 years ago, I invented metadata shredding, and only the XX network uses it. Your smartphone sends encrypted uniform-sized messages, mixed in larger the better batches, thereby shredding the metadata extremely effectively. Addresses are decrypted for delivery, with content, including special digital coins, decryptable by recipients only. Current chains, even though they lack messaging, geometrically fail to scale as users join. Only XX Network scales linearly through to consumer scale. Current chains use so-called encryption standards. Only XX Network uses quantum secure cryptography instead, what the government agencies that issue the standards use to protect their own secrets. Yet ours is built to be easy to switch to. Current chains are more money, more votes. Only XX Network governance is one user, one vote. True decentralization. Now possible with our proven breakthroughs, publicly verifiable, vote-selling resistant, and issue-scalable sample voting. We've been engaging the community, and the XX Collective is growing. So please join us.
Okay, guys, so one big thing about the XX coin is it's quantum secure. I'm not quite sure what that means, how that works. I would read into the white paper and everything else. I've taken a peek, but I haven't done a deep dive read like I usually do. So please do your own research on anything that I mention. I'm not a financial advisor at all. This is just something that I've stumbled on. I really trust David Chaum. I trust that he is essentially one of the smartest minds in the crypto sphere to date. I truly believe that, even comparable to or in my opinion, Vitalik is not even close to being comparable to David Chaum. I don't even think David Schwartz or Jeb McCaleb are even at David Chaum's level. In my opinion, I feel that David Chaum is the real deal. In a lot of ways, I think if Satoshi Nakamoto is a person, most likely is David Chaum or a group of people, one of them being David Chaum. So that being said, it's quantum safe. So you've heard that like buzz term that quantum computing is going to ruin crypto. Well, I guess you can consider this. If anything else, you can consider it a hedge. Thank me later. Don't thank me. Don't thank me. Don't invest. Don't listen to me. I give bad financial advice. Don't do it. So just go over to the website, xx-coin.io. I'm going to link this down in the description. But go sign up your email. You'll hopefully get a notification. So I got a notification today saying that there's going to be a pre-sale mid-December. I have no dates. They said that they're not going to advertise at all. So if you hear about this, you're probably just hearing about it from this video here. Because really it's just about people that know that this project even exists, and not a lot of people do. So if you want to get in, I advise you get it. I don't advise you. I don't advise you anything. Don't listen to me. I'm going to end the video here because you shouldn't listen to me. You shouldn't. No take financial advice from Haas. Don't do it. Okay, guys, that's it for me. Go ahead and give me a like on the video. Hopefully I brought some news to you. I know I seem overly bullish, but hey, it's a bullish day and look at the prices. Everything's looking good. Yeah, there it is. Give me a like if you enjoyed the video and I brought you some news. Give me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the SEC and appointing Valerie there to kind of lead the charge in FinHub. And what do you think of XX coin? Could this be a thing? What do you think? Am I just crazy? I don't know. Do you think David Chaum is Satoshi? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Little conspiracy there. Go ahead and give me a subscribe. I'm going to put a lot of more videos out, so hopefully I'm bringing value to you. If there's anything that I can improve in the videos, please let me know. And past that, I guess just wait for tomorrow. We're going to be releasing episode 2 of On the Block podcast. And hey, that's it from me, guys. So see you guys later, and happy hodling.